What is Robert's demand from the Queen? Robert walks late at night to the location where the Queen had requested to meet him and puts on the clothes that have thus far been connected to Robin Hood. He makes it extremely evident from the outset of this conversation that he does not view the Queen as his enemy or his objective, rather, he wishes to overthrow the Sheriff of Nottingham due to his brutal treatment of his family. He even flaunts his French skills in front of her, ostensibly to let her know that he has undergone cultural and Norman training as well. Eleanor is overall highly impressed by Robert. And she quickly begs her guards to be left alone with Robert so that she can reveal her plan to him. In order to force the king to travel to England and give Prince Richard the crown in France, she instructs Robert to intensify the attacks on Nottingham. The understanding dawns on Robert, who is a little perplexed about how Henry II's visit to England will result in Richard being the next king. Not only does Queen Eleanor want Robin Hood to draw King Henry II to Nottingham by creating a significant enough distraction, she also wants the outlaw to kill the monarch, at least in the long run. The advent of Robin Hood as a feared and notorious outlaw is a fantastic opportunity for Eleanor to ensure the murder of her husband so that her subsequent plans can come true. Although Robert shows tremendous doubt in him and his comrades being able to, or even wanting to, kill the king, Eleanor makes it apparent that she will keep demanding the same of him, albeit letting the matter pass for the time being. Soon, Robert learns that the Queen of England is requesting that he secretly cooperate with her to increase her status in the royal court, and so he decides to make a demand of his own as. Eleanor soon realizes that Robin Hood is actually Robert Locksley, Marian's Saxon lover, when he requests her to let Marian to leave the court after the disaster is over. However, she doesn't stir up any controversy and pledges to grant Marian her freedom and Robert his clemency so that they can reconnect and live out the rest of their days together when Robert has carried out her scheme to bring King Henry II to England. Robin Hood continues as Robert Locksley, the main character, begins to transform into the outlaw of the same name and terrorize the English royal court. Robert and the merry men acknowledge that they would never be able to resume their regular lives following the successful heroic raid at Nottingham in the previous episode, which was meant to prevent the Miller siblings from being put to death. Conversely, Robin Hood Episode 6 concentrates more on the political issues surrounding the capture of the infamous outlaw, while the Sheriff of Nottingham has a crucial meeting with Queen Eleanor, who pays a royal visit to his castle. If Marian loses faith in Robert, this could result in a fight between the couple and possibly even their breakup. Does the Sheriff of Nottingham ultimately help Queen Eleanor? The sheriff approaches the Queen's room for a serious conversation as her stay at Nottingham Castle draws to a close, and it appears that he will finally comply with her requests and assist her. Even Eleanor thinks so as she welcomes him into the room and points him to the writ that had been signed by every other important figure in the region. However, the Sheriff of Nottingham displays full disrespect for the Queen, and not only does he say that he will not be signing the writ, but he also publicly undermines her power by interrupting her plan. In order to prevent Eleanor from carrying out her heinous scheme against her husband, his cousin, the sheriff merely tosses the document into the fireplace, destroying it. He argues that he will always be faithful to the royal court, even if someone replaces his cousin, but for now, he cannot allow Eleanor issue the letter to deceive Henry II. Queen Eleanor firmly tells the sheriff that this conduct will be considered treason, for which she will have him executed once she has more power. But this does not dissuade the Sheriff of Nottingham at all, as he directly goes against the Queen and reassures her that he will bring an end to the problem with the outlaws. Does Marian finally learn about her lover's real identity? Despite their eventual reunion in Robin Hood Episode 6, Robert makes a grave error by keeping his identity as Robin Hood a secret from Marian, ostensibly because he can't bring himself to tell her. Most significantly, Marian would accuse Robert of killing her brother if he revealed himself to be the infamous outlaw haunting the woods, and he seemed to be avoiding such a confrontation for the time being. As a result, Queen Eleanor inadvertently has an upper hand over the marriage, which she can exploit in the future. Prior to all of that, Marian encounters her father, the Earl of Huntingdon, who is furious with her for introducing Robert Locksley into their family. This is when the Earl explains to Marian that it was because of Robert that Aran had lost his life, and she is left saddened. Importantly, Marian is as devastated and disappointed to learn that her boyfriend was responsible for her brother's death, even though she does not yet learn that Robert is the infamous bandit Robin Hood. If Marian loses faith in Robert, this could result in a fight between the couple and possibly even their breakup. begins to transform into the outlaw of the same name and terrorize the English royal court. Robert and the merry men acknowledged that they would never be able to resume their regular lives, which was meant to prevent the Miller siblings from being put to death. Conversely, Robin Hood Episode 6 concentrates more on the political issues surrounding the capture of the infamous outlaw, while the Sheriff of Nottingham has a crucial meeting with Queen Eleanor, who pays a royal visit to his castle.